Lieutenant James Peterson had been taking care of the refugee camp for 3 months. He was a military man, trained for combat and strategy, not mercy. But when the Valerian colony ship crash-landed on Earth, carrying thousands of aliens fleeing their dying world, he was assigned to the worst job imaginable: managing the displaced families. The camp was a temporary settlement outside New Mexico, filled with makeshift shelters and struggling families. Resources were scarce. Tempers ran high. James worked 16-hour days trying to keep order, distribute rations, and maintain some semblance of hope among people who'd lost everything. One night, as temperatures dropped below freezing, a young Valerian boy approached James. The boy was no more than 12, with silver skin that shimmered in the darkness and large, luminous eyes. His name was Cale, and he lived in one of the worst shelters in the camp, a tent that barely kept out the wind. "Can we sleep in the hangars, sir?" Cale asked in careful English, shivering visibly. "It's cold. My little sister is sick." James's first instinct was to say no. The hangar was reserved for emergency supplies and military equipment. There were rules. There were regulations. This was his job, to maintain order, not break protocol. But he looked at Cale's face, innocent, desperate, and trying so hard to be brave, and something in James's chest broke. "Follow me," James said. He led Cale and his family to the hangar. It was warmer, yes, but it was also sparse and industrial. James found some blankets from supply and made a makeshift bed in the corner. Cale's little sister, Mina, was indeed sick. Her skin had lost its natural luminescence, and she coughed weakly. "Get some rest," James said gruffly, uncomfortable with his own compassion. "I'll check on you in the morning." He should have gone home. Instead, he sat in his truck outside the hangar, unable to leave. He kept thinking about his own daughter back home, wondering if she was warm enough, if she had enough to eat. He thought about how these aliens were just people, families trying to survive, exactly like any human would. At midnight, unable to sleep, James went back inside the hangar. He found Cale awake, holding his sister's hand as she slept fitfully. "She's having nightmares," Cale whispered. "She keeps asking about our home, about our mother." James sat down beside the boy. "Where is your mother?" Cale's luminous eyes filled with tears. "She stayed behind to help others evacuate. Our ship left without her." James felt his throat tighten. This child had lost his mother, his home, everything, and he was still taking care of his sister, still being brave. "I'm sorry," James said quietly. They sat in silence for a while. Then Cale did something unexpected. He reached over and took James's hand. "Thank you for letting us stay," Cale said. "I know you broke rules for us. I know you could get in trouble, but you did it anyway." James couldn't respond. His voice wouldn't work. "My mother told me something before we left," Cale continued, his small hand warm in James's. "She said the universe is full of different species and different worlds, but kindness is the same everywhere. She said that real strength isn't about power or rules. It's about seeing someone suffering and choosing to help them anyway." James felt tears rolling down his face. This alien child, this refugee, this boy who'd lost everything, was comforting him, was teaching him something he should have known all along. "My mother said," Cale whispered, "that if there's any hope for peace in this galaxy, it will come from moments like this. From one person seeing another person's pain and saying yes instead of no." James pulled the boy into his arms and held him while he cried, not just for Cale's lost mother, but for all the times he'd chosen rules over compassion, protocol over humanity. By morning, James had made a decision. He submitted a formal request to convert the hangar into additional shelter. He filed the paperwork, broke it down into acceptable protocol, and made it work within the system. Within a week, 30 families were sleeping in the warm hangar instead of freezing tents. The military brass called it creative logistics. James knew it was something simpler. It was listening to a child and remembering what mattered. 6 months later, when the Valerian families were permanently settled with proper housing and jobs, Cale came to say goodbye. He hugged James tightly. "My mother would be proud of you," the boy said. "You became the kind of person she believed in." James watched Cale walk away with his sister, who was now healthy and laughing. and he realized that this alien child had given him the greatest gift, a reminder of who he wanted to be. Sometimes kindness is worth breaking the rules for.